Hey everyone, so today we are gonna be looking at this little notebook, and I wanted to so let's take a look at this. And as you can see, it's a journal. I found this, and it's like a journal, but it has like quotes on it. So we're gonna read through this. Let me just um yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really keep journals myself, but I know a lot of people that do. All right, so let's stop here. See what that says. It says, an idea is just a dream until you write it down, then it's a goal. So, I would say that I guess I actually do like this. Now, I know that, like, people like Stephen King, for example, he is opposed to this. So, I know Stephen King has come out and said that he doesn't like writing things down because he thinks it's a waste of because he thinks that, like, most of the time when you write something down you forget about it. You just write it down and then it just gets lost, and you never look at it again, right? Like, let's be honest, how often do you look at notes? Most of the time, if you're always writing notes, you end up with like 5, 6, 10 pages of notes, and then you never go back to actually rereading it, like. And and so maybe someday you'll come back and reread it, but then even when you do, you don't remember why you wrote it. And so I guess the idea is that so according to Stephen King, he thinks that it's, anything that's important, it's going to be in your mind, and you don't need to write it down. So I kind of agree with that. Like, I agree in the sense that um when you read, um you or I should say, I agree that when you write something down, you will forget about it. But whoops, you will forget about it. But when you um when you write something down, what makes it good is that um it allows you to organize your thoughts better. So I agree that you will lose your you'll forget about most things, but in my view, I actually kind of agree with this quote more, because when you when you write things down, you're able to see things, you're able to map things out, and by having your ideas out in in view, it allows you to decide what you want to do in a way that it allows you to make connections that are very complex and that make sense. And they might be random, but the thing is, there is a limitation to what your mind can do, at least my mind. And I find that with writing, mathematics is a perfect example where, most people can't do. I don't know of anybody that can do, like, algebraic expressions in their mind. Like, no, the whole point of algebra and math is that you can do things that are not intuitive. And so the writing really is important. And so I kind of disagree with Stephen King. I think that writing notes is good for building it's good for building a collection of ideas that you can connect together, that I don't think you could otherwise do if you don't. Because otherwise you'll just be random. You'll be living randomly, which you can do. There's no one right way to do things. Now, the next one is, don't follow your dreams, chase them. So, I guess, what does that mean? Don't follow your dreams, chase them. I mean, I I guess the idea is that dreams are not, well, it's a case of rapidity, right? Like, chasing is maybe like you're fast, you're not just walking, but you're running after it. So that's one way of doing it. But another way to look at it is maybe like following your dreams. could mean that you're just, you're following. Well, no, that's probably that's the intended meaning. But I mean, another way that you might be able to interpret this is perhaps if following something is, you're doing something without thinking about it, but chasing or following is when you kind of trust in something, but chasing, you're not even thinking about it. You're just going after it. And so, with following, when you're following something, following an idea, you are following an ideology, you are usually, you're somewhat trying to understand what you're going after, right? But in the case of chasing something, you are not really thinking about it. You're just running after it. And I guess they're both true. A lot of times you need to make sure that you understand that these quotes, people sometimes forget that there's not one right answer. I wish that people would understand that, there's not one answer. Sometimes there's two answers, especially to sociological and cultural concepts like this. So in a way it's true, and in a way it's not true, like many things that are cultural. So yeah, those are my thoughts. And let's see what the next quote is, or, well, I guess you can see a little bit of how this notebook is set up. It's got different little sections to it. And let's go for the next one. So, go confidently into the direction of your dreams. Live the life you always imagined. So, Henry David Thoreau was he was an American writer, and I believe he was what do they call it? I can't remember what it's called. Transcendentalism or something. So, the idea that you could transcend. I'm skipping over. Okay. The idea that you could transcend the, they were very, I don't know what it was, but they were very in tune with nature, but also very, wanting to kind of escape the, and trying to find an ideal way of living. And they were trying to transcend what it meant to be human. And so it was a movement. But anyway, so this quote, go confidently into the direction of your dreams, live the life you always imagined. It just shows you how you should walk towards your dream. The only issue, I guess, is like, what if your dreams are wrong, right? Like, what if you're thinking about something in the wrong way? I mean, that can happen, and that's, you would lose. But I mean, I think no matter what happens, you're not always going to know what to do or and so you might as well just go towards it. But, life is all, it's always, you're never going to know 100% if you're right or wrong, but you might as well go confidently towards it, because with confidence, it means that you are not afraid, and that you are, that at least you make a good effort in whatever it is that you're attempting. So let's go to the next video, or the next section. And a diamond is merely a lump of coal that has been perfected under pressure. So Henry Kissinger, interesting that he is in this book. So a diamond is a lump of coal that has been perfected under pressure. I like the idea of pressure. The idea that that it's not something that it comes with a lot of sort of difficulties and heat and problems and crushing, right? Like the earth is crushing a diamond. And in the same way, um, I guess this is one way of thinking about how, perhaps what makes a person great is that they've just been through the harshness of growth and of life. And that maybe that is what a diamond is, essentially. That, it's really just a piece of rock. I don't think this is literal, right? Like, does diamond come from coals? I don't think so. But I think what is meant is that a diamond is just a piece of rock that has been put under a lot of pressure over millions of years. But in the case of our lives, it's something that has been put under a lot of pressure. So, it gives the impression that you could someday be a diamond, is basically what it's saying, if you go through the pressure. Let me turn your can'ts into cans and your dreams into plans. And so this is just, if you can't, instead of saying you can't do something, just believe that it can be done. And I would say, I don't know if I'd agree with this 100%, because sometimes, you can't do something. I don't know, like, I think there is some level of achievability that you should do. But that being said, you would be surprised at what you can do. And so, on the one hand, I agree. I agree with this one, but turn your can'ts into cans and your dreams into plans. So, like, I'm saying, I guess I would prefer a more realistic approach. But you're right. Like, a lot of times, oftentimes you can't do what you're trying to accomplish. So, this is about saying, hey, you know what? When you don't know how to do something, how about you just learn how to do it? Turn it into something you can do. And then, instead of dreaming about something, start making the plans that can make those dreams into a reality. Okay, you will never know your limits until you push yourself to them. So this is something interesting, because it's really about experimentation. And this is something I'm really big on. Now, this is something you can only really do once you've sort of set yourself up and you've learned. You're learning about something, and once you set yourself up, this is something that when you start experimenting, this is how you will learn what the limits are. What can you get away with doing? Like, if you are an artist, try different things, and then seeing what works and what doesn't by trying it. Push yourself to them. Now, in this quote, I think what they're trying to say is that they're talking more about how, you'll never know how hard, or, you'll never know how far you can go unless you do it. And so this has more to do with doing things that are sort of, that you'll never know how complex your thoughts can be unless you keep going. Now, of course, there are limits. We are limited by time. We are limited by physiology, right? So you don't want to do anything that can hurt you. And certainly, you don't want to do anything that can hurt you, or, you want to be safe. But yeah, push yourself to the limits. And the next one is, if you are what you should be, you will set the whole world on fire. St. Catherine of Siena. And I think that's interesting that it says fire. Like, uh, it's basically, it's what it's saying is that your best version of yourself is when you are truly yourself. So basically, you are going to shine. You're going to you're going to have more power being what you are than trying to be something you're not or being someone else. Right? That's why a lot of times copying what someone else does doesn't often work, does it? If you just do exactly what someone else does, you're usually not going to be the same as them. And you're also not going to understand why they do what they do, because in a way, you need to be what you are best at doing. And then that's how you will shine. You will, like, people will feel the rawness of you, because everything that you do is going to be accentuated and your strength can be pushed through it. So, let's say you have a unique voice. Maybe somebody has a very low voice, and that's their strength. But somebody that has a high voice, what if their voice is really squeaky and high? Does that mean that they can't be strong or that they can't be powerful? Of course not. You could, use it in your own way, right? So the best way that a person with a squeaky voice can be like, like a mouse or something, right? A squeaky voice can still be powerful if they just double down on the squeakiness. Okay? Double down on what you have instead of trying to be what someone else has been or what a society says that someone else should be. So interesting. Should I work out today? Yes, no. Yes, you should go work out. Or wait, what? No, go work out. Okay, so I guess it's saying that no matter if you want to or not, that you should go work out. Now, personally, I'll be honest, I don't work out, so I do stay active, but I'm not really, whatever. I don't necessarily think that it's necessary, for humans to do it, but that being said, I understand the sentiment here. The idea is that, even if you don't want to physically, well, this is about physical. I haven't talked too much about um, physical sort of exercise and stuff. It would be interesting if you guys want to hear more about my thoughts on this channel. But essentially, what this says is, so I understand the sentiment that you need to be active, and that is good. And so what that looks like for everybody is different, though. And so I guess in that sense, I don't want to be too dogmatic and say that, oh yeah, like everyone has to go to the gym. Not everyone has to, but of course it's a good thing. And of course the same thing applies with, what we said before about, not pushing things too much to the limits, right? Because you can get hurt. So you want to, do things that are safe. And so anyway, let's look at this. I'm not losing weight. I'm getting rid of it. I have no intention of finding it again. I don't know if I'd agree with this too, because we all have different shapes. Some people are just a little bigger, some people have big arms, some people, I can't change the shape of my body all the time. So I don't know if I'd agree with this, but I think if you want to take this from a metaphorical standpoint, it's saying that, if you want to do something, you don't have to hold on to it. But in my case, I guess when it comes to weight, I kind of disagree. I think a lot of people, it's probably, it's like animals, right? Animals come in all shapes and sizes. And so I don't see why humans can't come in all shapes and sizes. So in terms of the weight, I wouldn't put too much credence on this philosophy. But I would say some people are just bigger. And, so as long as you are sort of caring for yourself, you should be fine. But yeah, so I understand. Obviously, we're all trying our best to be positive, and so I hope we can all achieve that, or to do the best we can with our lives. Now, if you wait for the perfect conditions, you'll never get anything done. So this is something that is often said, and I will say that what this means is basically like things are never going to be exactly how they need to be, and so if you need to do something, just do it, right? So just um, in a way, it speaks to the idea that there is no time to. There's never going to be that perfect moment, and that sometimes you have to just do it when it feels wrong, or when you feel like you can't do it, or even when you don't want to, or even when it feels like it's not going to work at all. Like you kind of have to just do it, and then over time it'll happen, even if like everything is just falling apart in front of you, and like it doesn't seem like it's even working, and you're thinking, well, I don't feel good. It doesn't, I'm all. And so, like, it's one thing to prepare, right? But then it's another thing where there's no preparing for it. Sometimes the preparation is to just get started wherever you're at. And then eventually, over time, you will climb out of that state that you are in. Um, and so basically, don't wait, just start now, whatever you want to do. And over time, and you will just, over time, you will hopefully get something done. And and the thing is, you're it's that moment, I guess, is I mean, I kind of agree that sometimes there are moments in your life where you feel like something is going to, where it feels special. It feels like you should start. So I don't necessarily think that, like there are times where it really does feel like, it's, all the things lined up, right? All the stars lined up. But, the thing is, you can also create those moments too. And I think that's what this is saying. It's not saying that there isn't a perfect condition. It's saying that you can make that perfect condition right now, even if it doesn't feel like it. Now, energy and persistence conquer all things. So Benjamin Franklin, energy and persistence conquer all things. So I guess this just means that, if somebody is persistent and continues, that can overcome sort of the sort of someone else's lackadaisical effort, or if somebody is not putting in as much energy into something. And so I do agree with this. Now, obviously, over time, I don't think anybody can maintain all of this usually. And a lot of it, sometimes the energy can go to waste. So it's a tricky thing. But overall, I think the sentiment here is that if you want to, that a lot of times energy and persistence is the thing um, that will make it so that they are the things they are the engine of whatever you are doing. So it will, like, or the fuel, maybe, if you want to think of it that way. And so, yeah, I agree that, that it does. I agree that this, that you can, that, now, I mean, I don't know that it's always, I guess maybe the conquer all things is really more about saying that, I don't know if it's for the outside world or for yourself. Like maybe, like this is what you need to conquer all things, or is this what is always needed to conquer things? And I would say that you probably need more than just energy and persistence. You need the right idea too. But in terms of yourself, like, isn't this what you need, right? Like, you need the energy and persistence to continue to hopefully discover what the proper method to do something. So it's not just physical, but it's also mental, and it's that combination of physical and mental that makes everything in life, that makes things happen in life. It's not just physical. It's not just, even physical things require mental things. Even like athletes, when they are doing something, usually they have to use their creativity sometimes, right? When they're on the court, or when they're designing their program, or they're, so athletes are not just, they're not just doing something physical, they're doing something mental as well. Patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. I don't know who Napoleon Hill is, but so patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. This is interesting. It's similar to the previous one we saw with this perspiration. Now, just so as you can see, we're just flipping through this book right here. So if you think this book is interesting, if you like it, it has these quotes. Patience. Let's go back to this. Patience, persistence, and perspiration. Okay, there's the alliteration. Lots of P's there. So patience, being able to wait. Persistence, okay, continuing to do something, even if you're failing. And perspiration, what does that mean? Is that like sweating? I think. Or it also means, I guess, like, it's kind of similar to persistence maybe, but no, perspiration is like you wait, isn't that sweating? Yeah, I think it is. But sweating represents, doing work. Make an unbeatable combination for success. So that success requires waiting. It requires doing something without stopping, or doing something over and over again. That's persistence. And then perspiration means you're pushing. You're actually doing the work. That sounds like a good combination to me. So yeah, if this journal has other things in it here. So if, like I said, I don't use journals typically, but I can see how this can be a great way to put your ideas. What does this mean? No diet, eat clean, move more. So, I mean, I guess it's just saying that, don't focus too much on a diet, but just eat clean and move. I don't know. It seems kind of contradictory in a way, but yeah, I would say obviously it doesn't define what eat clean means or what move more means, but I kind of agree. But like I said, I believe in being active, and of course, you want to, at the very least, stay away from junk food, maybe like candies and stuff like that. But yeah, this is overall. I guess, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of contradictory, but I see what it means. Like, don't focus too much on diets, I guess. But, it doesn't really tell you what diet or eat clean or move more means. So, kind of hard to judge that one. But let's see this one. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you exercise, the stronger it gets. Facing resistance builds strength. So, would I agree with this? I guess discipline is about being able to do something over and over again. And I guess it makes sense. Like, the more you do something, it reinforces whatever you do. So if you keep doing something, make sure that what you're doing is correct. Because if you are doing something you're building a bad habit, you're doing something that's not correct, then you're going to just keep getting your muscle. It's like your mind will keep doing that slightly wrong thing. So I think the discipline is very important to put and the perspective that what you are disciplining for, what you are, or I should say, what you're trying to build, the discipline that you're trying to build, is something that is actually um, the correct, sort of the best outcome, that can give you the best outcome. And it's not just because a lot of times we want to do something, but then, you don't quite do it, so you're not doing it right. And so you want to, I guess what I would say is make sure that you're doing it right so that you can, um, so that the habit you're building is actually the exact habit that you want. And it's not like almost, or it's not, because otherwise, for example, if you want to get on time, if you want to be on time, you want to consistently be on time. You don't want to be almost on time. Does that make sense? If you want to build a habit of doing things, and so I agree with this. And then facing resistance builds strength. And a lot of times, really, the discipline and the strength that you're going to need, it's going to require kind of doing something that you really don't like doing, or that doesn't feel good as you're doing it. The next one is the best way to predict your future is to create it. So I guess that means is what that means. This I do agree with. Basically, it means that when you do something, whoops, when you do something, what you do is the future, basically. So what you choose to do today is going to be your future, and that's how you create it. You're like, well, how do I create the future? Well, what you do is going to be your future. So if you spend time today practicing for something, tomorrow you're going to be better at it. That's going to be your future, right? If today you are careful about things, then that can affect your future. If you're not careful, that can affect your future as well. Like whatever you choose to do is going to affect you. It's going to be your future, actually. So, and what does it say? If you don't like something, change it. Whoa, what was that? If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. I'm not sure. Okay, there's Maya Angelou. I know she's a writer. Um, I guess what this means is if you don't like something, change it. But if you can't change it, then stop. I think what this means is stop worrying about it because you can't change it, right? If something can't change, you're going to have to adapt to it. And so this is really about adaptability and saying change your attitude towards it, maybe be more accepting of something that you can't change. Try to change it, but if you can't change it, or if you see that maybe maybe you come to the realization that you don't have to change it, or whatever the case is. I like that it says, well, then just change yourself. Change yourself so that you can adapt. But either way, it's Maya Angelou is really telling us about how we should succeed. Like she's teaching us how to succeed. You succeed by, if you don't like something, go make the attempt. But if you can't change it, then change how you view it, and then maybe you'll be able to change it then, or maybe not. I don't know. See, it kind of leaves it open, I guess, what happens after. But yeah, but either way, I do like that. Basically, sometimes I like the idea that it requires that you be introspective, and sometimes you can't just approach something just from one angle. Sometimes you want to be open-minded enough to realize, hey, wait a minute, be self-aware and say, hey, sometimes maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem. So, or maybe I need to, even if you're not the problem, maybe I need to change my approach anyway, because you're facing up against the world, and unfortunately sometimes you can't change things as quickly as you might want to. So this might not be an appeal to say that you have to change, but more that you need to accept reality and just go with what you can do right now, and maybe someday in the future you'll be able to change things to your liking. And then stop wishing, start doing. So I guess the idea there is stop wanting something and just go, start making the decisions today that are going to get you to that future that you want. Slow progress is better than no progress. Now, this one I agree with. So what this means is it's better to do things. It's better to, if you just do 1 hour a day, that's better than nothing, right? Even if it's 15 minutes a day of practicing something, anything, that is going to, over a year, that adds up. And so, in a way, you are, as a person, you need to, you need to be able to do things so that, so that you can, for example, you make slow progress, but really slow progress is actually the best way to learn things. That's actually how most humans learn, right? Young people, they learn slowly. They learn things, and so a lot of times we want things to happen fast, but really, progress is about doing something. But sometimes you have to go extra slow, and even when you're going extra slow, that's better. The idea is you're doing something, and sometimes that movement is better than if you don't think about anything at all, right? Going towards any goal is, um, it represents, you're doing something, as opposed to if you're not doing anything. Because sometimes people think, well, I can't dedicate all my time to something, but even something slow is going to be better than not doing anything. Because if you don't do anything, then if you don't plan, then you're probably not going to have that much control over your life. You're not going to be able to, um, you wouldn't have done, you're not going to be able to do everything that you could have done. And sometimes doing it slowly is okay. Um, the next one is, if you haven't felt. So this is an interesting book. I mean, it's a great, I'm reviewing this book just so you guys can see, like, what this book is about and what it has. Now, obviously, I'm skipping through the pages. So, like, this is just a small, um, sampling of what's here. Okay, the last quote we'll look at is, if you haven't felt like quitting, your dreams aren't big enough. So I guess the idea here is, you know, there is going to be a moment you might think that, oh, well, I love my dreams, but like, it's weird how at some point you're going to reach that breaking point. It seems like all humans, we reach that breaking point where we say, like, you know what, I really don't want to do this. And that's just maybe our emotions. Maybe that's a human thing, that, we reach those limits. But sometimes if you can get through those moments of, like, man, I really don't like it. Sometimes you have to go to that space to be able to pull back and then realize just how valuable something is. Like, it's weird how life is that way with our relationships, with everything, where you almost feel like, I really don't want to do this. And that creates this powerful bond. It's almost part of the experience. And I don't know if that's just how life always is, but I think part of it is because there's going to be some unforeseen circumstances, surprises, and you're going to think to yourself, like, why is this happening? And you're not going to know how to deal with it. And these surprises are what are going to cause you to feel like you're not in control, and that you're going to be uncomfortable and you're going to want to quit. And it doesn't happen often, hopefully, but there are going to be moments where it might happen. And so anyway, this is the book. This is by, what is it called? Let's pause that. It's Philosophy. I guess it's by IG Design. Thank you for making this. By Design Group. Thanks for making this book that we reviewed today. Yeah, maybe you guys are interested. You can find this in, I think I found this in, like, one of the like CVS or Walgreens. And, well, anyway, let me go back to where I was. Okay, so there it is. And it is called, let's turn this around. Dream the impossible, seek the unknown. There's the Fitspiration Journal. Seek the unknown and achieve greatness. Achieve greatness. Sometimes these quotes, I guess, are, it can get people going. And having something that's daily is something that um, something that can help you, so that when you make something, when we have daily inspirations can be something that helps you, because you're not going to remember what you read, but sometimes you just need a little quote to guide you for the day. And I can see how this could be great. You don't have to agree with every quote, right? But I hope this can, something like this. This is a great book. I thought it was pretty cool. It had some pretty cool quotes. So that's why I'm reviewing it. And I hope you all are able to appreciate this. And now I don't, I think, I could see how this would be a great idea, a great thing to implement if you want to. Now, I wouldn't put anything too personal. I don't know. There's just something about journals that, I don't like being too personal with it, but I know so many people who have like learned how to write by writing about. So just write about yourself. You don't have to do anything like super like, personal or anything, or, I mean, it can be personal, but it doesn't have to be anything, too crazy, just something that will get you to write, just write, be a writer. And this will help you do that. And hopefully these inspirational quotes can be kind of a fuel for that. And so this channel, I really do want to promote writing. If anybody wants to, I'm a writer. I've written for many years, written a lot, like thousands and thousands of writing pieces. And honestly, writing is a great thing, and I hope that that's a skill that more people can have. And if you want to, I don't know, if you want me to talk more about writing, yeah, that'd be great. What do you guys think about that? So thank you all for watching this, and you can subscribe, and you can also learn as I talk, as I try to explore sort of this is about studying and about learning about yourself, and about this is about sort of learning, teaching, talking about the process of learning, and talking about the process um, of how we can discover and grow as human beings through the power of studying, and why it's so important that school doesn't just end at school. You have to teach yourself. You have to be your own teacher and teach yourself in life, because life will constantly bring new things to you. And you also, in order to really make the best of life, you're going to have to come up with solutions that are your own. And that's what that's something that only comes from discovering, and something that only comes from learning how to study, learning how to research, and then learning how to put it all together, so that in your life you have you're able to sort of achieve your goals, but you're also able to create the world that you want. So really, learning in school and studying is all about, it's about making the world making the perfect world for you, giving you the tools you need with mathematics, with mathematics, um, with reading, with writing, making that world, making the world your own, like making that world that you've always wanted to create for yourself. And that's what the power of studying will help you with. So thank you all for watching.